Hello and welcome, my primary colored leaves. With Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus, the Pokémon world has reached a new stage of bigness. But we have never seen Kanto or the other regions in this graphical style. But another set of Kanto remakes? No, I don't think we need that, really. But where to start if not Kanto? So, what about instead of remaking older regions again, we get sequels? This is my idea for a Kanto sequel. Pokémon Verdant, Crimson and Azure. Yes, 3 editions. I don't plan to keep that for the rest of them. But I want to reuse the original cover Pokémon and well, the starters are a trio and they should all be on the cover. Sure, many legendaries are also part of a trio, but still work as a duo, especially in the story of these games. Also, for the idea I have for this game regarding how a certain legendary will play a big part in it as well as getting new forms, this was the way to go. First off, your starter choice. This will be like in Let's Go. You will get Bulbasaur in Verdant, Charmander in Crimson and Squirtle in Azure. This will also not be in my upcoming sequel ideas, but remembering Yellow and Let's Go, it works for Kanto. Now it will revolve around 4 main characters, the 2 player characters Verdant, the boy, and Crimson, the girl, as well as a rival for each one. Yes, you get a rival based on the gender you choose. Those rivals will be Azure, the rival of Crimson, and Mallow, Verdant's rival. Your own rival always gets the starter that's effective against your own, while the other gender character gets the one weaker than yours. For example, you play Verdant as, well, Verdant, and get a Bulbasaur. Mallow will get a Charmander in this case, and Crimson gets a Squirtle. This leaves Azure, she will get the same starter as yours, Bulbasaur. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into the game. You start at your home in a very familiar looking room. This is 25 years after Red and Blue. Your mom calls you down, and here you see a familiar face. Your mother is actually Green. She tells you that Professor Oak is already waiting for your arrival and gives you some Pokeballs. Her Wigglytuff walks around the house too. So you set foot outside and immediately see that Pallet is a little bigger than back then. Not really big, but some more houses are there. Outside you will be greeted by Crimson or Verdant, depending on who you're playing as, saying you could go together to the prof. His lab is actually now west of Pallet on a different map, but with no route between them. You arrive at the lab where the other 2 characters are waiting as well. Mallow, as a rival, is your childhood friend, but very competitive and serious about becoming better than you. You trust each other, but you also won't hold anything back in a competition. Azure is calm and collected, which made her a rival for the more hot-headed Crimson. Verdant, as a character, is more easygoing and enjoys battling. After you 4 talk a little, the professor finally arrives and is another very familiar face. After 25 years, the original Professor Oak has retired, and his nephew Blue took over the lab, now being a researcher himself. Here, it is also revealed that the non-chosen player character is his child. He will hand to you your Pokédexes, which are foldable smart Rotoms, and your starters, which come in special Pokeballs. An all-green one for Bulbasaur, red for Charmander, and blue for Squirtle. Now your starters here are a little special. They won't evolve by level, but at certain story points. They follow you even if you don't have them in your party, just like Pikachu and Eevee in Let's Go. Why do they evolve at certain story points? Well, at one point in the story, their final form is definitely needed, and I want to give them some special stuff to take out roadblocks. So you technically could have their final evolutions with them only being level 5. With your new Pokémon, you will immediately be challenged by your rival. After that battle, you will leave Pallet towards Route 1. Okay, we are in Kanto now, but it would be really boring if all the Pokémon would appear like in the original. Also, all routes are like mini versions of the wild area, with one big one that will come later. So, besides Pidgey and Rattata, You will also be able to find Hoot Hoot at night, Sandred and some other early route Pokémon here, as well as some bugs. As a very rare encounter, you are able to find Azurill in Verdant, Budew in Crimson and Litwick in Azure. Basically, you are able to already get a full team early on, but with not much versatility. After Route 1, you will enter Viridian City. Ready for your first gym? Yes, since Giovanni's disappearance, the gym has changed. Blue took it over for some time, but that was only an emergency solution. The gym now has a proper new gym leader, who is specialized in bug types. Her name is Silky, based on silk, which is produced by insects. Her team consists of Butterfree, Beedrill and her ace, for now, Snom. But something is different about this Snom. This is your introduction to Kanto's regional forms. That Snom is no longer an ice type, but instead pure bug type. It will gain another type after evolving, but we will get to that later on. As well as where you can find them and why they are different now. As for looks, it basically is a light yellow Snom with a green spiky shell. The badge you get for winning is the Crawler badge, which looks like a green beetle. On to the Viridian Forest. In here you will be challenged by the other player character. Besides their starter, they have a Pidgey, Rattata and the version exclusive from Route 1 that has the type advantage against your starter. After that battle, you can freely explore this wild forest area, where you can catch a lot of bug types as well as some bird types. Nothing too special here for now. Well, they are very rare, but you can also catch Pichu here and even rarer, the new Snom. On to Pewter City. Oh, and Route 2 and Viridian Forest are now basically fused. At the entrance, a woman will approach you and tells you about a free tour of the museum you can take, which is optional, but you probably should. The tour shows different fossils, some rocket stuff, gives a little backstory about the world. However, at the end of the tour, you are allowed to choose a fossil between the Helix and the Dome fossil. The guy who gives it to you tells you about a young trainer way back then, who helped him when a certain evil organization attacked him. As a thanks, he gave him one of those two fossils, and this inspired him to do that for young trainers visiting the museum. You cannot revive it just now, so on to Brock's gym. And yes, it is still Brock's gym, still full of rock types. He has 4 Pokémon, Geodude, Omanyte, Kabuto and his ace, Onix. Yes, nothing new, but I thought he should be more classical. After you defeat him, he will tell you that his wife will be glad to do battle against a trainer with this much potential. Route 3, 4 and Mount Moon are now fused into a wild area. Mount Moon is technically optional, but will have lots of Pokémon you might consider to get, especially space-themed ones like Minior, Cleffa or Algium. Also 2 Kanto forms. Quirgonal, who now looks more round and is made out of metal, a steel ice type, and Inkay, now a dark steel type with a drill for a head. Outside you can find stuff like Sandshrew, Paras, the Nidos, Mareep and stuff like that, as well as one Kanto form, Shinx. It has now more of a snout and is green instead of blue and white instead of the black, with sharp fangs and claws. It is pretty rare and a Dragon Electric type. It also has very small wings. As you try to enter Cerulean City, you will have your first encounter with the new evil team. Their uniform is a white, tuxedo-looking outfit with a red shirt underneath. Men wear a black tie, women a black bow on the collar. They all look different based on other trainer classes, and their Pokémon are also based on their trainer class. They are called Team High Class, and their logo is a golden H with 4 dots in it, a green, red, blue and a yellow one. They have it on their chest pocket. Their goal is to establish a class system that gives power to the strong, which should govern over the weak in their opinion. If you are weak, you have no rights, but the strong have all the rights. After defeating those 2 in a double battle, an old man with a beard approaches you. He says you have a lot of potential and gives you something. As you look down, you see a Pokeball in your hand, completely black with a green feather-like mark on it. As you look up, the man is gone. You try to open it, but it won't. You contact Professor Oak and tell him about that, who tells you to be careful. He also seems to recognize this logo somehow. He then tells you about Bill, who lives near Cerulean City, and you should talk to him about that Pokeball, since he is more adept in technology. So you now have two choices: challenge the gym or going to Bill. Let's go to Bill first. On the way there, you will be challenged by your rival again. If it is Mallow, he has his starter, the Route 1 exclusive that has the same type as your starter, an Eevee, a Kanto Shinx and a Riolu. Azure, on the other hand, has a Kanto Gothita and an Esper instead of a Kanto Shinx and a Riolu. Yes, a Kanto Gothita. It is a fairy electric type. Its purple parts are pink now, the black parts white. It has little insect-like wings and its ribbons are yellow and a bit more spiky. It discharges electricity from them. After fighting through some trainers, you make it to Bill's house, where he greets you and tells you that Blue actually told him you would come. After a little talk, you give him the Pokeball, and all he can say after a quick check is that something powerful seems to sleep in it. If you could somehow wake it up, you might be able to call it out. You decide to leave the ball with him for further inspection, and he will, from now on, refer to it as the lacquer ball, since it looks like black lacquer. So, on to Cerulean Gym. So, what does Misty have to offer? As it turns out, nothing, since she isn't the gym leader here anymore. Instead, it will be a new character called Call. She also has renewed how the gym looks. Instead of a pool, it is now an ice skating rink, fitting for her specialty type ice. Call has long, dark blue hair and eyes, wearing a light blue ice skater dress and a silver crown. She has 5 Pokemon: Alolan Sandshrew, Galarian Mr. Mime, Sneasel, Amaura, and the new Cantonian Shellos, which is basically a Shellos with an icy shell. Defeating her nets you the Flake Badge. Also, after this gym battle, your starter will evolve. The eastern exit of the city is actually gone now, so only the south remains. Let's go there. Now you are entering the big one. This is Kanto's wild area. It actually combines Route 5 to 8 into one big area with Saffron in the middle of them, as well as an exit to the north, south, east and west, to the respective cities there. Of course, you can find a lot of Pokemon here, including some Cantonian forms. From here, you actually have a choice of where to go: Celadon, Lavender or Vermilion. The intended way would be Lavender, so let's go there. Here you get to hear why you couldn't enter Route 9 anymore. About 20 years ago, an earthquake raised the ground in this area, collapsing the cave and basically terraformed everything into the state it is now. North of Lavender is actually an entrance to the new cave that can be found here, but you can only explore the first room of it, which has mostly dragon types in it. Also, this is where you can find Cantonian Snom and a lot more easily. A lot of Pokemon from other regions were imported some time ago, and Snom were the main ones they used to cool down this area after the earthquake. You see, there's lava underneath this cave, which almost broke out, but with introducing ice Pokemon to this area, this was prevented. However, what people back then didn't realize was the dragon energy that was set free, which led to some foreign Pokemon to change into dragon types all over Kanto, and all the Snoms here getting heated up while cooling down the area were affected by that heavily. That is why they also have a new middle stage evolution called Snocoon, which is basically a spiky green cocoon. The third stage is Frostmoth in its Cantonian form, a dragon bug type with dragon-like horns instead of its antennae and wings that are a mixture of a butterflies and a dragon's. It is still unknown what caused the earthquake, but for now nothing much can be done in this cave. Except there's something that you hear as soon as you enter the city, or any of the other 2 cities if you choose to go to there first. It wants you to go inside this cave, find it. So you explore this first room, following the voice in your head, and find a pink crystal. Touching this crystal seems to wake it up, as it starts talking to you now. This is something you have to do first, by the way, before you do any gym battle, no matter which city you choose. The crystal tells you that its body is somewhere else, and asks for help finding it. You agree, but it doesn't know where it is. All it remembers is that it fought against 3 Pokemon that looked similar to it, and 3 birds helping him. With your new companion in tow, you go to the next gym. Lavender has a gym now. It is, of course, a ghost type. Situated in the Pokémon Tower, once a graveyard, then turned into a broadcasting station. Why the hell did they do this? Now a Pokémon that looks like a graveyard. The gym leader here is Hector. It has Ecto in the middle of the name. A guy completely cloaked so that you can't even see his face. He has a full team of 6. Drifblim, Lampent, Sandygast, Alolan Marowak, Mimikyu and Haunter. Defeating him nets you the Creepy Badge. You might want to visit Route 12 and 11, which are purely optional but have some new Pokémon. Notable is that you can catch normal and Galarian Farfetch'd here, as well as Cantonian Tropius. It lost its need to fly, but developed fire powers to fend off all the grass types trying to eat its bananas. Due to that, its leaves gained a flame-like form and became red. The bananas on its neck turned orange and are very spicy now. Its body became like coal now, turning black and giving you black hands if you touch it. Vermilion City has, well, nothing really. The gym closed down, so except exploring there is nothing much to do here. Remember the guy building a house here? That's actually finished now and turns out to be a shop where you can buy special items, like the sweets for Milcery. But for now, let's head to Celadon. You actually can do quite a lot of stuff here. First off, you can learn Cut, Strength and Fly here, but don't worry, HMs aren't back. It is a system called Pokécall. It allows you to call one of your Pokémon from the boxes to help you out, similar to Pokéride. However, you can designate which Pokémon it is that shall help you from a list of possible candidates. There's only one exception. Your Ivysaur will do Cut, your Charmeleon will do Strength, and your Blastoise will do Surf. Surf will come later, however. With Cut and Strength you can explore some more areas on older routes if you want. Fly lets you return to a previously visited city, but you can also fly around the wild area a little, where you can encounter some different Pokémon that can also fly. Most puzzles that require other HM moves aren't accessible through Fly. Also, don't worry about having to waste a move slot. Pokécall moves won't be like normal moves, you can just use them on every Pokémon you like. If you want to use Fly or Surf in battle, or are a masochist that wants to use any other HM move in battle, you have to get the respective TM for that. It would probably be for the best to get Pokemon that can use these 3 moves, since it opens up some more areas and will be crucial in progressing further after this gym. The department store has now rebranded into the Eevee Department Store. Every employee has a costume of Eevee or one of the evolutions. You can buy a lot of stuff here like usual, but on the roof you can actually witness a stage show of the famous children's program Shinka Sentai Eevee Ranger. After watching it, one of the staff members recognizes you as a trainer and asks you which of the rangers you like the most. He then gives you an Eevee egg, and depending on your answer, the corresponding evolution item for it. Fun surprise though, this egg has a 100% chance of being shiny. There's the casino, or well, it is now called a game center. You can play some minigames here and earn prizes if you reach certain high scores. Each minigame has its own prizes, and the arguably most valuable ones are a Porygon, a Rotom and a Beldum. If you actually manage to get the highest prize on every machine, the owner will take you to a back room, where he congratulates you and gives you a shiny coin. If you give this to a Pokemon and then put it into the daycare, it will raise the chance of its offspring being a shiny. With the Masuda method and Shiny Charm and all, you can increase your odds to about 0.5% chance this way. Last thing before the gym is a new area that opened up to the north. The Flower Paradise. Once per day you can pick some flowers here that will be arranged into a bouquet. Depending on which flowers you pick, you get a different bouquet and each has its own merit as a hold item. Now, Erika is waiting. She changed her team up a little with these 6 Pokemon. Cherrim, Lilligant, Maractus, Roserade, Lombre and her ace Bellossom. After you defeat her and exit the gym, the crystal will talk to you. He remembers fighting in the air over some kind of islands. But where could those islands be? Well, when you leave the city, or Lavender if you got that badge last, your rival will challenge you again. Okay, so Mallow has a starter on its second stage, as well as the Pokemon with the same type as your starter's second stage as well. He evolved his Eevee into the type with the advantage to your starter. Kanto Shinx is now Kanto Luxio, which has a posture kinda like an ape, being bipedal, but it's still using its hands to walk. It also has bigger wings now, with which it can fly. Of course, Riolu evolved too, and as his final team member, he has Nidorino. Azur's first 3 Pokémon will be the same. Her Kanto Gothita is now a Kanto Gothorita, has big butterfly-like wings, some glitter around it, and sparks coming from its feet. Esper evolved into a Meowstic, and she also has a Nidorina now. After you defeat him or her, your starter will evolve into its final stage. Your arrival then tells you that something is up at Saffron City, which is your next goal. However, you can do some optional stuff first. One of these things is getting Surf, which you get by going to Fuchsia City via one of the routes leading there. I would recommend the cycling road since it is a new area. Well, it is not the cycling road anymore, so you don't need a bike, but in the middle is a special place called the Battle Cycle that lets you fight a couple of trainers with randomized teams every day. In Fuchsia you learn that Janine isn't a gym leader anymore, but instead became a Pokémon Ranger. Not one of those that play Beyblade. She watches over the Safari Zone, and you are now told that if you enter and can find her in it, she will give you a present. So how does the Safari Zone work here? Well, you have 50 minutes time in it and you can battle there. Instead, you have an open world where you can throw Pokeballs directly. You get 30 Safari Balls, which work like Pokeballs, 20 Safari Ball Plus, working like Great Balls, and 10 Safari Ball Plus Plus, which work like Ultra Balls. Use them with the up button on the D-pad. If you hold it down, you can aim them. With L and R, you switch between them. The down button has smoke bombs, which allow you to disguise yourself so that Pokémon don't see you as easily. However, sometimes they get afraid because of the sudden smoke. The left button lets you throw a stone, which angers Pokémon, making them easier to catch but also more inclined to flee or aggressive, so they tackle you. If you get tackled, you need a bit of time to stand up again, which costs you time. Finally, the right button has lures. With these, Pokémon are less likely to flee, and you can lure them from afar if they notice their little threat. If you find Janine, she will teach you Surf, which opens up the route that connects Fuchsia with Pallet. What about Cinnabar? Well, after what happened in Gold and Silver, it is now completely turned into a volcanic cave. You cannot visit it now, as the entrances are covered in flames. Same goes for Seafoam Islands, which have frozen exits, but at least you can get a couple Pokémon around them. If you return to Pallet Town, you get an optional battle against the other player character. He has his starter as well as the second stage of the Pokémon with a type advantage from before. On top of that, he has a Snorlax, Sandslash, Galarian Farfetch'd and Steelix. Also in Pallet Town, you can learn Rock Smash from Blue, which is not necessary but lets you reach places you couldn't before. So then, let's check out Saffron. If you tried to enter it before, there were barricades everywhere, but those are gone now. Inside you see a lot of trainers battling against members of Team High Class. After fighting your way through some of these grunts, you reach the Silphco building. Before you enter it, the other player character comes to you and says you should go in together. He or she has the same team that she has when you fight him, her in Pallet Town. Also, the crystal talks to you again, saying he senses something very sinister in there. As you fight your way through the building, you will eventually reach the top, where you see the leader of Team High Class together with something that looks very familiar. A creature resembling a certain legendary that was created by another organization some time ago. But not quite. It looks like Mewtwo, but is green with wings like those of a Scyther. It also has some exoskeleton-like features and extensions on its wrists that look like beetle horns. After some talk about how you are not worthy of fighting him, he takes a Pokeball from a shelf and leaves. Of course you try to stop him, but the creature stops you. Yes, it will be a 2 versus 1 battle, but it is against a Psychic Bug type Mewtwo, which is strong. Even with your partner besides you, it still won't be an easy fight. It knows very strong Bug and Psychic moves, as well as a signature Bug type move called Buzz Beat. It hits both of you, can inflict confusion and make you flinch. It has 100 accuracy and a power of 90. Also, you cannot catch this Pokemon. it will shield itself from Pokeballs. After you defeat it, it screeches and melts down into a green puddle. The CEO of Silphco, as well as a specific trainer, will come in. The CEO tells you that the Pokemon in the Pokeball he stole was something special, but it wouldn't come out of its Pokeball. Where have you heard that before? Well, nothing can be done about it quite yet, so the other trainer says to come with him. He takes you into a building besides the gym, which is a fighting dojo as he tells you. There he will hand you a ring with a rainbow colored gem in it and lets you battle against one of his pupils. He teaches you a special new mechanic that will be exclusive to the sequel titles. Unisoul. It is kinda like Z moves, but works a bit different. First off, your Pokemon don't need to equip anything to use it. Also, it kinda acts like a fifth move. You don't need to use a slot for this. It basically has its own. Also, the user has to have a max affection to use it, since it is a move possible due to the bond between it and its trainer. And one more thing, you have a bar that fills up as the battle goes on. You can only use that move if the bar is full. If you haven't used it, the battle will deplete over time outside of battle. Also, only one use per Pokemon per battle, so technically you can use 6 moves in one battle. Each Pokemon has a unique Unisoul move with a unique animation and unique effects, even if they are from the same evolution family. However, they often have similar things. After learning that, he actually tells you to come to the gym. As the trainers will tell you, Sabrina actually gave up the gym, so now it is a fighting type gym. The leader, which is the trainer that taught you Unisoul, is called Ken, which is fist in Japanese. His team is made up of Hitmonchan, Hariyama, Sork, Mienshao, Hawlucha and his ace Machamp, each symbolizing a different fighting style. If you beat him, you get the Kiai badge. But wait, weren't we to all the cities now and none of the remaining has a gym anymore? Where's the 8th gym? Well, there's still a place we haven't gone before, but Bill gives us a call and wants us to come to him. He tells us that whatever is in the lacquer ball is actually awake. It never was asleep, but it seems it is waiting for a trainer worth to partner up with. He gives you the ball back, saying that you might find this trainer on your journey. So, where are we going now? Bill also mentioned that you will ride the ferry next, and that is in Vermilion. The ferry will of course take you to the Savvy Islands. It stops at one island, and here you will see that the Savvy Islands are basically another very water-based wild area. You can surf from island to island yourself, explore some smaller islands in between, and catch a lot of Pokemon. On these islands you can find NPCs for all the HM moves you are still missing. Flying isn't allowed here, however. Your goal for now, however, is 4 Island, where the gym is located. The gym is a Dragon-type gym, with the gym leader being named Tatsumi. His team is made out of Dragonite, Garchomp, Como, Dragapult, Alolan Executor, and Cantonian Luxray. The last one basically looks like a mixture of a Luxray and a humanoid dragon, with big wings. Defeating him nets you the Scale badge. Now you have all 8 gym badges. On to the league. Not so fast, little trainer. Outside the gym, the crystal recalls that this is the place. He saw these islands below him back then. His body has to be here somewhere. Talking to the residents reveals that some time ago something fell out of the sky above the mysterious island north of here. But it is dangerous to go there. Well. At Naval Rock, the crystal calls you once more, saying that it feels its body close by. You go down to the cave to then actually get to the top of Naval Rock, where you find its body. Turns out the crystal was Mewtwo all along. You bring it back to Bill, the only one who would be able to heal it, but things are not looking good. It's not only the wounds, its pure essence is severely damaged. Bill can put the crystal and the body back together, but he would stay weak and will die in a few days, even if he does this. The crystal says that it will be a shame, but his power he could defeat those evil guys. Bill says there's one possibility to preserve at least some of its strength, but it is a very unethical way. He would need to fuse the body with another Pokémon, which would stabilize it. But this way, if you then put Mewtwo's soul into the body as well, the soul of the other Pokémon will disappear. Mewtwo tells you it's okay. This is just the way it is. But your starter interferes. It walks toward the body, signalizing it wants to fuse with it. Mewtwo says that this way at least a bit of its power will be preserved, and he does not want the body back. After thinking it through, you accept. This is why I made it that the starter always follows you and evolves in specific story points. It needs to be fully evolved at this point. But what will it turn into? Well, if you have a Venusaur, it will become a grass psychic type. It has long leaves on its head that look like rasta curls. The lighter parts of its body are light green, the dark tail is dark green. It has long, thin, blade-like leaves on its wrists, and its tail has a big leaf around it. It will also learn its signature move Leaf Leap, where it jumps onto the enemy and slashes it with its leaves, while absorbing HP and adding the Leech Seed effect. Your Charizard will turn into the Fire Psychic version. The lighter part will be orange, the darker part red. It has a burning head and tail as well as flames on its shoulders that look like shoulder pads. Its signature move is Burn Basher. It punches the enemy with fast punches, inflicting burn and lowering its strong stat. For Blastoise you get Water Psychic, of course. Its light part becomes watery blue, the dark part dark blue. On its head it has a fin that looks like a mohawk. Its tail has a liquid around it that looks like water, and on its wrists are spearheads made out of water. Its signature move is Splash Stab, where it stabs both its spears into the enemy. This takes away its ability for 3 turns. Also, imagine riding it when using Surf from now on. Have fun. Now then, ready for the Elite Four? But before you enter Victory Road, you have one final battle against the other player. He has his starter fully evolved as well as the one with the type advantage from back then. The other 4 are Bellossom, Arcanine or Vylord, depending on your starter. It will have the same type. Altaria for Crimson, Neuven for Verdant, Mismagius and Excadrill. Defeat him or her and enter the Victory Road. Well, the Victory Road is what it is. A place full of trainers and puzzles you need to solve. It, of course, is also a mini wild area. Well, not that mini, but you get the gist. After it, be ready for the Elite Four. The first one will be a familiar face that tells you that her husband has already told her about you and she can't wait to do battle against you. This is Misty. This is her team. Golduck, Poliwrath, Kingdra, Lapras, Lumineon, and her ace, Starmie. Next up is a guy named Ferro. He specializes in steel types. His team consists of Steelix, Copperajah, Aggron, Magnezone, Metagross, and Melmetal. Sabrina is third. Her team, Hypno, Musharna, Xatu, Sigilyph, Medicham, and her ace, Alakazam. The last one is a poison type specialist. No, it is not Koga and he is not related to him. It is someone named Poisson, and he wears a fancy dress in multiple colors. His team, Crobat, Toxapex, Salazzle, Roserade, Toxtricity, Loki, and his ace Dragalge. See, his team is fully made up of dual types, with 6 different second types in it. His dress has the colors of these 7 types he uses. So, what about the champ? Well, your rival is already waiting. Whoever your rival is, he has the same Pokemon as before, but fully evolved of course. Defeat him, enter the Hall of Fame, let the credits roll. But credits? Team High Class is still out there? And the Lacquer Ball? So many things unanswered? Well, these credits were not the end credits, but rather the middle credits. You are not in postgame now, you are just entering endgame. Back at home, someone knocks at your door. A young woman comes in and introduces herself as Lovely, a detective from the International Police and former student of Looker. She says she came to Kanto because she heard about some evil organization doing some illegal experiments and asks for your help, since you are the champ of this region as of now. You tell her about those Team High Class guys you met and that strange Mewtwo you defeated, which is exactly what she is after. She also tells you that they created more Mewtwo's than just that one. Your Crystal Mewtwo comes out and says that these creations should be destroyed. They are suffering, full of pain, and should never have been created. He was created as well, but he has gotten free will, other than these creations that are basically ready to go berserk at any time. Lovely is surprised by your crystal companion and asks what it is. You tell her that this is the original Mewtwo, and she says you should give it a name. It would be more convenient that way. So you can input a name for your crystal now. I will refer to it as Mewtwo to make it easier from now on. So, Lovely wants you to hunt down these Mewtwo, to which you agree. Here comes the fun thing. You can fight them in any order you want, but defeating one raises the levels of the others by 1. They start at level 70 and go up to 84. Since there's none for the one you have yourself, the normal one is also absent, since that fused with your starter, and you defeated one already. Lovely gives you a hint to where one could be found, and after you defeat one, she will call you and tell you about another hint she found. The order of these hints is random, and you can find them even without any hint. If you find one she hasn't hinted at, you still get another hint, so you have 2 hints then. Let's go over them in order, but before we do that, one more thing happens. Remember the Looker Ball? As Lovely leaves, it starts reacting, and out of it comes a Mew. But not just any Mew. I will make a video with theories of how there could have been a Mew for each type once, which evolved into the Pokémon we know now. And you get one of those. Which one you get depends on your version. You will get the Bug one if you play Verdant, fighting for Crimson and Ice for Azure. Add it to your team if you wish. If not, it will still follow you around, just like your starter. You are able to choose that it doesn't follow you, but at a certain plot point it will come out nonetheless. So, let's start with the normal Psychic type Mewtwo. While I have the opinion that normal should be the only type to never be a dual type, since what is so normal about a Pokémon that is also electric, this case is kinda special, since it is Mewtwo's DNA mixed with a normal type once. It has bunny-like ears and is colored in a light beige, with its tail being darker beige. Its tail is short and spiky. It also has claws now. Its signature move is Regular Rage, where it just slashes with its claws over and over, which does super effective damage no matter what, and also allows it to buff its stats by 5 stages instead of the usual 4. The hint for this one: there was a beam of energy seen to the north of Cinnabar Island. You can find this one on that little piece of land right below Pallet Town. The fighting Mewtwo is dark brown, with its tail being an even darker brown. As for the colors, they will always be the type's color, with the tail being a darker shade of that color, so I won't mention it anymore. It has bulky arms and spiky sharp ears, like blades. It doesn't have fingers, and those has melted into fists it cannot open. At the end of its tail, it has a hammerhead. Its signature move is Battle Brutal, which does damage to every Pokémon in the opponent's team. It sends out fists made out of energy that hammer down fast at the opponent. Here's the hint. People say they heard battle cries from afar in Pewter City as well as in Cerulean City. You can find this one on top of Mount Moon. The flying type Mewtwo has bird-like wings on its back and sword-like feathers on its wrists. Also, instead of its ears, it has little wings. The tail is flat, a little bit like Articuno's. The name of its signature move is Soaring Slicer, where it flies into the sky and attacks the opponent with a storm of many razor-sharp feathers. This pins the opponent down so that he can't use any moves that make contact for 3 turns. Your hint for this one? Something was seen in the skies around the Savvy Islands. It is on top of a tower on 7 Island, the one that was once the trainer tower, which is now abandoned. Next is the poison one, which has a cobra-like head and a lot of spikes on its hands. The tail is long and snake-like, with a head on its end that has poisonous fangs. Its ears look like blisters in a sickly looking green. For its signature move, it is called Venom's Vein, which poisons the opponent by injecting poisons into it through its hand spikes. This status, however, cannot be removed and immunity against poison is ignored. The hint? Researchers found out that the plants north of Cerulean City started to wither away. This one is pretty easy, since you find it on Route 25 after researching the plants together with Bill. On to Electric. It has bowl-shaped ears and a cable-like tail, with sparks coming out of its end. On its wrists are sword-like blades, loaded with electricity. Its signature move is Sparking Surge, which not only paralyzes the opponent even if it is immune to it, but also does a little bit of damage each turn after its initial use, which also does damage, of course. It rushes through the enemy multiple times, hitting it with its blades. Hint: seems like the electricity in Lavender Town is turning off at night. For this one, you have to go through Rock Tunnel until you reach the remains of the power plant in which you will find this beast. Ground-type Mewtwo has no ears, but instead holes, and out of them flows sand. Instead of hands, he has drills, and his tail is flat and broad, like a shield for its back. Its signature move is Earth Enclosure, which forces the opponent to change his Pokémon. Also, the Pokémon that got hit can't be put in battle for 3 turns, except when it's the last one left. When using it, Mewtwo drills into the ground, summoning a hand made out of earth that grabs the opponent. Your hint for this one? The people of Saffron and Celadon City talk about strange rumblings that can be heard from underneath. This one is a little bit tricky, but if you think about it, you can get it. There's a place that runs underneath both of these cities, and that is Diglett's Cave. The Rock-type Mewtwo has rocky spots all over its body. Its hands are axe-heads and its ears spiky rocks. Its tail is made out of many individual rocks, kinda like an onyx. When using its signature move, Granite Grade, it uses its axe hands to grate away at the opponent, which lowers their defense and special defense harshly and blocking any defense buffs. The hint? There seems to have been a cave-in the rock tunnel. Sure, this sounds easy, since that is plainly its location, but you have to get through a labyrinth of tunnels to reach it. Now we get to the Ice-type one. On its wrists, it has spearheads made out of ice, and its ears are V-shaped blades of ice. Its tail has a giant barb on its end. For its signature move, you have Frozen Funeral, where it steps into the opponent, freezing it from within, giving it the frozen status, while ignoring immunity to it. Your hint? The people of Viridian City talk about a chilly wind that is kinda unusual. Again, a bit tricky. The place you need to get to is Victory Road, where you find a part that is covered in ice. This leads to an icy labyrinth. At the end of it is your opponent. Let's get it on with the Dragon type. It has dragon-like wings and horns like a Chinese dragon. It has sharp claws on the end of its tail, is a sting. Worm Wrath is its signature move, where it summons dragon energy that creates a storm around the opponent. This also gives it the Fear of Might ability for 3 turns, which lets every attack of Mewtwo do super effective damage no matter of the opponent's types. The hint this time? The citizens of Pewter and Viridian City are scared, because they always hear fierce roars in the distance. The goal? Viridian Forest, to be precise, a new exit to the east that leads to a small mountain. Here you can also catch a lot of dragon types, especially Snocoon and Cantonian Frostmoths. The ghost type 1 has no legs, instead it has a mist surrounding its lower body. This is in reference to depictions of Japanese ghosts, which don't have feet. Its ears and hands are also covered in this mist, and it has blades of ghostly energy on its wrists. Its tail is long and spirals around its body. The signature move is called Spectre Spook, and instead of attacking the opponent, it attacks a Pokémon of the opponent that is not in battle right now, while hindering the exchange of Pokémon for the rest of the battle. It extends a ghostly claw behind the opponent that grabs its shadow. Your hint? People have started to fear going near 2 Island and nobody knows why. While 2 Island is kind of the destination, it is actually in the sea around them. You are looking for an ominous mist, which you enter. This turns out to be a ghost ship with your opponent on it. Defeat it and the ship vanishes too. The dark type version has a meanly grinning mouth and mean looking eyes. It has barbed claws and a mace-like tip on its tail. Its ears are spiky and long. The signature move is Evil Exchange, where it covers the opponent in shadows and you can't actually see the real attack. This also randomly exchanges the types of the Pokémon you have on your team with each other. Hinty hint, there are rumors about Team Rocket being back in Celadon City. Well, they aren't, but you might want to check behind that poster in the game center, where you find the entrance to their hideout, albeit abandoned and now haunted by a very evil being. Second to last we have Steel. It is basically smooth all over, with no ears at all, and its eyes are only grey, without any pupils. On its wrists are revolver drums, and on its tail is a blade. Its signature move is Silver Salvo, where it fires countless bullets from its wrists. This does damage in the following 5 turns as well, even if the opponent exchanges his Pokémon. You get this hint. A lot of technical malfunctions were reported on 5 Island. Well, you have to search for a cave entrance on it, where this one awaits you. And lastly, we have Fairy. It is a bit smaller than the others and has glitter around it. It has butterfly-like wings and multicolored feathers for ears. Its tail has a feather on it that is similar to a peacock's tail feather, and on its wrists are long, thin, pink and purple blades. With its signature move, Fey Festival, it summons a lot of small lights that attack the enemy while healing itself. It heals more if it also has a status ailment, which is then also healed. And the last hint, Mount Moon is covered in a mysterious glitter at night. You don't have to go there at night, but it will be easier. You can get to it if you take the right path, but at night you see a trace of glitter you can follow. But what now? You defeated all the Mewtwo's, but you still don't know where Team High Class is located. Lovely contacts you and wants to see you in Pallet Town, back at home. There, she tells you that she looked everywhere in the Kanto region, but couldn't find their hideout. However, she found out that to the north of Kanto, a strange castle was built in the mountains. You go to Bill, because you enter that mountain. You have to go through his garden, which he happily lets you enter. Now, Bill's garden is a very special place where you cannot battle the Pokémon there. It is more like another safari zone. Every day the Pokémon you can encounter change. Here you can catch all starters of all the regions. However, they are rare, as well as some mythical Pokémon like Shaman if you are very lucky. To tell which Pokémon are there right now, talk to Bill, and who tells you which types are currently roaming this garden. All the Pokémon here are their lowest evolution stage and are only between level 5 and 10. On the other end of it is a gate you can go through that leads to Sad Mountain. As you climb up, you will find a lot of strong Pokémon, mainly Dragon, Rock and Fighting types. When you reach the castle, Lovely analyzes the door, which is closed. Seems like you need 4 codes to unlock it, but where to find them? You decide that you should look into those 4 towers surrounding it. Maybe you can find a hint there. Now, you will have to go to all 4 towers, but you can decide in which order. Let's go into the one with the blue roof first. After fighting your way up through a couple of Team High Class members, you find yourself in a room with a pool and strange markings on the walls. You are approached by one of the 4 Grand Royals, Queen Navia. She has a team of water and psychic Pokémon: Kingdra, Nilotic, Alakazam, Gardevoir, Slowking, and the Kanto regional form of Dragapult, which is a water psychic Pokémon. Its body is made out of water and the two Rief float around in it. The colors of its head are blue edges with pink as the main color. After defeating her, Lovely messes with the control panel and gets the first unlock code for the door. So, you now know that you have to go through all 4 towers to get the code. At the top of room of the red roof tower, you enter a room with fire on the walls and glittering dust all around. Here you fight against Queen Vermilly and her team of fire and fairy types. She has Florges, Galarian Rapidash, Ninetales, female Pyro, Heatherine, and Cantonian Goodra, the fire fairy type. It has a pink body with a red belly, and the goo on its body is magma-like. Let's do the green roof tower next. The top room here has vines all over it and frost on the ground. King Jaden is specialized in grass and ice types. He has Abomasnow, Alolan Sandslash, Weavile, Shiftry, Roserade, and Cantonian Kommo-o, the grass ice type. Its scales are made out of leaves with frozen edges. Its body is color green with an icy blue tail. The last tower has a yellow roof. The room you will see here has electricity running around the ceiling and an MMA-like design. You have to fight King Lamp with his team of electric and fighting types. His team consists of Mienshao, Lucario, Luxray, Vikavolt, Magnezone, and Cantonian Metagross, which is now an electric fighting type. Its hands resemble fists now and its body is yellow. The 4 fists are reddish brown. The fists are connected via electricity. With this, you can now enter the castle. As soon as you do, the music stops. You can explore it, but nobody is here. No people, no Pokemon. You can find some items, but that's it. When you go up the stairs, you enter a dark corridor. Here you get a little bit of music, but only some notes. As you move on, more and more notes are added to the slow, eerie track. At the end of this corridor, you reach a room full of gold and gems in various colors. This ornate room has one person in it, the leader of Team High Class. He compliments you on making it this far and wants to give you a reward for it. Not only do you get the offer to join Team High Class, which you of course decline. Behave. And you get to know his name, which, according to him, is a privilege only for the strong. Noblesse is what he is called, which is a mixture of the words noblesse oblige, which means nobility needs to oblige. Formally, this is more positive in meaning, since it means not only the normal folk has obligations towards royalty, but also vice versa, like royals have to ensure protection of the normal folk. For him, this is of course twisted in meaning, since according to him, he has the obligation to rule over this that are less than him, because they are inferior. He sees himself as the good ruler. His team might sound low leveled, with them only being 73, which is a hint to Team High Class's name. H is the 7th letter, C the 3rd. But he has very strong Pokemon. He tells you that he searched the whole world for a team that would fit him, since the highest of high should have a mighty team. And this is what he found that fit his tastes. He starts off with a hole. Yes, a legendary, and that is what his full team is about. He also has Ice Rider Calyrex, Solgaleo, Zacian, Regigigas, and Galarian Articuno. This is supposed to be the hardest battle in the game. When you defeat him, he says nothing for a while. Unbelievable. It's them. The only thing he says. Lovely approaches him to arrest him, and without any backfighting, she can handcuff him and takes him away. You leave. Back at home, Lovely visits you again. She thanks you for your help and tells you that no matter what they do, Noblige just doesn't talk anymore. He sits in his cell doing nothing, just staring at the wall. She assumes that he never thought he could be defeated, and being defeated put him in a state of denial. However, his evil deeds are over, so that's good. With this, credits roll and you see recaps of your journey. But what now? Is there something to do in postgame? Yes, there is. You can now find the aforementioned forms of Mew roaming in the wild. You can find them wherever their types make sense. So the grass type one in forest, the fire type one on Cinnabar Island, or the water type one while surfing, for example. Don't worry, if you encounter them, they won't flee like the other roaming Pokémon. You can also now enter the volcano on Cinnabar Island as well as Seafoam Island, and a new island south of those called Sparkstar Island, where you can catch Articuno, Zapdos and Moltres, which, as Mewtwo will tell you, then are the 3 Pokémon that helped him. Also, you now have the type Sovereigns to challenge. You can battle all 18 of them once per day, and they always have a random team of fully evolved, non-legendary Pokémon that have at least one of the types they specialize in. Except the normal Sovereign, he uses only pure normal types, because every dual type with normal doesn't make any sense. Of course, you can also challenge your rival and the others of your group of 4. You can find them in pallet towns at their homes. And last, you have a little storyline where you help out a young teacher in the Pokémon school by showing the children specific Pokémon they learn about. This can either be a specific Pokémon, a specific type of Pokémon like a baby Pokémon, or a Pokémon with a specific move or ability. At the end of that storyline, you get the teacher's seal, which you can give a Pokémon on your team. This one makes grinding a lot easier, as the Pokémon holding it will immediately level up to the same level the Pokémon used to defeat the opponent has. With this, you have beaten the sequel to Pokémon Green, Red and Blue, that also has a touch of yellow and the Let's Go games in it. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below, and when you are down there, solar beam the subscribe button and use thunder on like. Also, follow me on Twitter. Until the next time, bye!